How's it going, everyone? My name is Mudbud, and I'm your coach of the Cerulean City Starmies. This video is going to be my Season 4 Week 1 matchup against the Ontario Tyranitars and their coach, Nin. Just a little precursor, I did plan on doing separate team builders and games for this league. Unfortunately, though, my life has been in just havoc lately, a lot of personal stuff going on, and so these first couple weeks, unfortunately, I'm already behind 1 week on games, which is why I'm bringing out 3 videos today. But these first couple weeks are just going to be a quick overview of my team along with the game afterwards. We'll see how much time I have in the future to do 2 separate videos for that, but as of right now, this is all I can do. So, going over the team that Ning can bring, first of all. His team is Lugia, Megalopony, Manaphy, Weavile, Amoonguss, Darmanitan, Registeel, Donphan, Tyrantrum, Comfey, Electivire, and Mismagius. Especially looking at those first 6 Pokemon, I'd say, just the amount of offensive prowess on this team is incredible. Team building for this was a pain because he just could bring so many different sets, so many different combinations of Pokemon. But I really felt like I covered most of my bases really well with this team. And hopefully we'll be able to get the W with this one. So, looking at my team, the first Pokemon I brought was Quagsire. I brought a leftovers Quagsire with full 252 in defense. The reason for Quagsire is literally just for Darmanitan. Darmanitan cannot really touch this thing that well. If Darmanitan uses Flare Blitz, I can just recover off the damage, and he can U-turn on me. That's fine. Earthquake isn't going to hurt me. He can bring HP Grass, but that's not going to do much damage to me, like at most 15-20%. And looking at the moves I brought Recover, Toxic, Scald, and Seismic Toss. Very basic Quagsire set. Seismic Toss is there to break a sub if Manaphy wants to try to set up in my face. Toxic is there in case I want to get a Toxic off while Darmanitan is switching out if he's a choice item. And yeah, very basic Quagsire, but very effective for the team I'm facing. So the next Pokemon I decided to bring was my Kyurem Black, and I decided to bring a Scarf variant. Nothing on this team at all wants to come and switch into any of Kyurem's moves except for Registeel. But I do have Earth Power, and then plus I think I brought enough to where I can at least wear down that Registeel enough and take it out eventually. I brought Dragon Pulse, Fusion Bolt, Earth Power, and Ice Beam. Ice Beam hits a lot of his team super effectively, and he's quite a bit weak to Ice. Earth Power, like I said, there for Registeel. Fusion Bolt is there for Manaphy, and Dragon Pulse is just it's there for a mid-tier. Like if I need a decision on what move to pick, I'll just go Dragon Pulse, just as a mid-tier play, I guess. As you can see, I brought 252 special attack, max special attack with 252 speed. And I'm not usually one to love to do 252 on all my Pokemon, but as you'll see throughout this team builder, all of them are going to, for the most part, be 252 and 252. That's just how the matchup played out. So yeah, going into my next Pokemon I brought, I want another Wall Breaker, and so I ended up bringing Mega Kangaskhan this week. I went with a Drain Punch, Power Up Punch, Body Slam, and Substitute set with max speed and 252 in attack. And what this set is going to do, if he decides to switch in Amoonguss, which I do really believe is going to be his answer to this, I can get up a substitute. Amoonguss really can't do a lot to my Kangaskhan, and I can start getting up power-up punches. Yes, he can be He can be Rocky Helmet, but with enough power-up punches, I can start using either Body Slam or Drain Punch and get rid of Amoonguss, and then Drain Punch and get health back from other Pokemon. Again, not many things are really going to want to switch into this. Yes, I can't touch the Mismagius, but I have, as you can see, I have Drapion for that, and I have other things that can take care of it as well. So going for my next Pokemon, I decided to bring Heatran this week. I brought an Air Balloon Heatran with Flash Fire, so that his Darmanitan can't touch me unless he gets me down with, say, a U-turn. Along with that, I did suspect that if he brought Registeel, it would be a max special defense set with possibly a fire, the berry that have super effective fire attacks, and also with Earthquake to take out my Heatran. So that's why I brought the Air Balloon on it. The set I brought was Flamethrower, Stealth Rock, Roar, and Flash Cannon. I brought max special attack, and I brought a 208 speed. That speed is to speed creep. I believe it was max speed Tyrantrum. Don't quote me on that though, because this was last week, so I don't quite remember. Stealth Rock is going to be really helpful if I can get it up to wear down the Lugia, wear down the Darmanitan, two of the biggest threats to my team, I'd say. Roar is there basically just to, in case he wants to try to sub up with Lugia and stall me out somehow. I can roar him out and get some more chip damage. And then Flamethrower and Flash Cannon are there just to get offensive pressure on him. Next up, I brought Drapion. I brought a Black Sludge Drapion with 252 and 252 max attack. And the moves I brought were Toxic, Taunt, Knockoff, and Poison Jab. This is basically a complete counter to Lugia. He really can't do much to this thing. Taunt is there so he can't roost up. Toxic is there. He can't roost or sub with Taunt. Toxic is to wear that down along with things like Manaphy. And then Knockoff is there for a super effective stab against Lugia, as well as just knocking off items on other Pokemon. And Poison Jab I brought just because of Comfey. I wanted to bring Pursuit, but unfortunately it just really didn't fit on this team very well. But I felt this was still a very good, mostly complete set to what I wanted. So finally, I ended up bringing a completely defensive Mew. This is for two Pokemon in particular. It was for Mega Lopunny and it was for Weavile. First of all, Mega Lopunny really can't completely hurt this thing. A return is going to be doing about 40%, 30-40%, somewhere in that range. And I'm hoping that after that, he will switch out to Weavile, trying to get my Mew on with Pursuit or Knockoff. And once I eat that Cobra Berry I have, I can Aura Sphere it and kill it. Thunder Wave is there. I can, once Mega Lopunny switches out, I can use Thunder Wave, slow anything down. And yeah, this is my team I'm bringing week 1. Obviously, I don't think I brought enough for Manaphy when I was looking back on it, but we'll see if that's a problem when we come up to the game right now. So looking at what he decided to bring is literally exactly what I thought he would bring. Those first 6 Pokemon on the list I was talking about. He brings Mega Lopunny, Lugia, Weavile, Darmanitan, Manaphy, and Amoonguss. Darmanitan, looking at this team, I'm really expecting Darmanitan to be scarfed in some way. I'm expecting Amoonguss to be his switch into Kangaskhan. And obviously the others I'm expecting to just be offensive. And Lugia is going, I don't know what Lugia set he's going to bring because it can just do it can do such a variety of things. So let's get right into it. And leading off, I wanted to hopefully get my Stealth Rocks up because looking at this team again, chip damage on Lugia, Weavile, and Darmanitan would be absolutely fantastic for me. And looking at what he brings, unfortunately he does lead with that Mega Lopunny, which I knew was a possibility. but I still felt that Heatran was my best play here. And so I obviously have to switch out. I go right into my Mew, my counter, and he just goes straight for the fake out, trying to get some damage off. Knowing he's going to switch out, I go for Thunder Wave here, and I paralyze Lugia, which isn't the most ideal, I'd say, because Lugia I'd rather it be toxic, but at the same time, I think I have more than enough for it, where I don't need the toxic per se. So after getting Thunder Waved, after I Thunder Wave, I'm gonna switch out to my Lugia counter, which is Drapion, and he goes right into Darmanitan, trying to get some momentum, I think. And I'm gonna go into that counter for Darmanitan, which was Quagsire. EU turns out, which leads almost 100% leads me to believe that it's going to be Scarf. But I still don't know for sure, obviously. So he brings out a Moongus, and I know Spore is almost entirely 100% coming, and I probably should have just stayed in because I don't really want anything else spored. But if he clicks Giga Drain, I lose so much momentum in the fact that my only thing for Darmanitan is Heatran, and Scarf Darmanitan just destroys my team right now. And so I have to go into Heatran, unfortunately, right here, and I do get spored, as you'll see here. I decided to stay in because I don't think he could do anything to me. When I get burned turn of sleep as well. He goes for Hidden Power Ground and doesn't see my balloon. And second turn, he does break it with the Giga Drain. And so I decided to switch out here because I don't want to take that damage yet. And I decided to go into my Kyurem, which can one hit with Ice Beam, I believe, or two hit depending on his set. He goes into Manaphy and switches right out, as I go for Fusion Bolt trying to get damage on Manaphy, and he switches into Lugia, which is just as good for me. I'm going to switch out here, go into Heatran, expecting him to want to go into that Amoonguss. However, he decides to go into Mega Lopunny, and that causes me to have to switch out again. And as you can see, I'm definitely on tilt at the start of this battle. He has a good amount of momentum. He has my Heatran asleep. I do have a Thunder Wave on his Lugia, but that is not that big of a deal for him. If he plays his Lugia right. And so I go right into my Mega Lopunny, switching again in Mew. As he goes for return, that does a solid nothing, 35%. And I'm going to roost up here knowing he's going to switch out, and he falls right into my trap going into Weavile. He goes for the Pursuit, and I'm going to eat up my Clover Berry, eat that Pursuit up, and go for the Aura Sphere and take out Weavile. And so much momentum change right there. I am so happy that worked out. As he goes into Darmanitan, I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to go into Quagsire. As he goes for Hidden Power Grass, and just like I said, only 23% there. And with leftovers, it's going to be basically nothing. And so he's going to have to switch out. And I believe I go for Seismic Toss, knowing he's going to switch out. Yes, I do. And so he goes back into Amoonguss, and I'm going to go into my Drapion, knowing even if he goes for a Hidden Power Ground, it's not going to do a ton. Oh, nope. I'm ahead of myself. I go into my Kyurem Black because he can't touch this either. And so Hidden Power does absolutely nothing, and I'm just going to go for a safe Dragon Pulse right here. Nothing else wants to take a Dragon Pulse. God, I'm ahead of myself. I apologize. I go for Ice Beam on the Lugia, and he decides to stay in because he knows that this Lugia is probably not going to do much with the Para. So he's going to go into Mega Lopunny. I can't one-hit it right now, and so I'm going to switch right back into Mew, and he's going to get the crit, which is so big right there, and it kind of threw me off. And unfortunately, it led to a little bit of a misplay this next turn, as I go for Psychic instead of Roost, which I 100% should have roosted up there, because even if I lived, I would have been able to, even if I died, then I died. I went into that turn thinking I was going to, he was going to kill my Mew, because the last return did more than that, and so I just wanted, for some reason I just clicked Psychic, and that was just a complete misplay on my part. If I click Roost, I still have my Mew around, and things are going really well, but unfortunately I really have no switch in for this right now, as I don't want my Quagsire to take that much damage, because Darmanitan is also still around. So I go into my Kyurem Black knowing that I can outspeed his Lopunny because it's Scarf, and I'm going straight for Dragon Pulse. Here's where I go for Dragon Pulse. And I get a good amount of damage off on this Manaphy, showing that it's probably offensive, and I'm just going to stay and go for another Dragon Pulse as he goes into Amoonguss. Now here is where I go into my Drapion, as I can take any hit he wants to throw at me. Once again, he's going to get a decent amount of damage off on me, but I'm able right here to get off a knockoff, and I get a crit back at him, so I guess it kind of makes up, but he does have Regenerator on this thing, obviously, and so I'm not going to be able to do that much, I guess, to this Amoonguss. So the crit wasn't that important. So this next turn, he goes for Hidden Power Ground, as you see, and I make another complete misplay this turn. For some reason, I was rushing my turns, and I didn't calc what a knockoff would do to his Mega Lopunny. And knowing that Mega Lopunny could still do a lot to my team, I didn't want it to get a free switch in, or survive and get a free switch in. And so I stupidly go for Poison Jab, which is coming up after the Black Sludge. So I go for Poison Jab as he brings out Darmanitan, and knocking off this Choice Scarf would have basically won me the game, because he had nothing to outspeed my Kyurem. And that with Manaphy already at 57%, once again, he would have just not had anything to hit my Kyurem, or to outspeed my Kyurem, rather. Instead, I still have to play the 50-50 game with Darmanitan because it would be a speed tie with Scarf Kyurem Black and Scarf Darmanitan. So what I'm going to do here, Lugia is dead, and so I'm just going to let my Drapion, I'm just going to let him kill my Drapion off here. And so I'm going to go into Heatran knowing he's locked into Flare Blitz. Hopefully I can wake up this turn and get off my Stealth Rocks, and again, I'm still asleep for the third turn. And that was really frustrating to me. As I go into my Kyurem thinking he's going for Surf, which he does. And right here, the reason I switch into Heatran, I think there's no way that he's going for a Water move. And Manaphy is also his Z Crystal holder. And so what was going through my mind was 100% Fairy Z Crystal with Dazzling Gleam. And so I'm like, okay, if I can get this correct, and I can get in my Heatran, take this with no problem, and hopefully, and just try to preserve my Kyurem. And he does go for a Z move. I'm like, yes, I was right. No, he has Z Surf, and he was gonna use that on Kyurem, and so he takes out my Heatran, which is a big problem because now he can lock himself into Flare Blitz with Darmanitan. Whoops. And so I'm going to go into my Kangaskhan, hopefully kill off this Manaphy, and he does barely survive on 2%, but I do get the Para. And so I am going to be able to Power Up Punch and take this thing out, which is really nice for me. Unfortunately, though, I do know he's going into Lopunny this turn, and I have to sack off my Kangaskhan. And I'm really not happy with the way I played my Kangaskhan this game. Thinking back on it, instead of going for Power Up Punch, I should have gone into Kyurem and taken whatever attack Manaphy thrown at me. I don't think he didn't have Dazzling Gleam at the end of the game, and once he didn't go for the Z Dazzling Gleam, I should have assumed he didn't have it. I should have gone to Kyurem, gone for Ice Beam, and basically won the game from there. But instead, I decided to sack off Kangaskhan, and I'm down to 2 Pokemon to his 3. And so I go right into Kyurem here, and I go for Ice Beam. He kills off his Lopunny. And now it's basically a 50-50 here. I know he can go for U-turn, which is most likely what he's going to do. And also, but if he goes for Flare Blitz on my Kyurem, there's a chance that I die. And because it would be a speed tie. And so I go into my Quagsire, and he goes just for the Flare Blitz, which is okay. And again, right here, I misplay. He wasn't going for Flare Blitz again. I should have switched into my Kyurem. But he switches into Amoonguss while I go for Recover. And again, right here, I should have gone just right in... I should have just gone straight into Kyurem right there, but if he spored me at the end, right, if he spores me here with the Amoonguss, then I Kyurem's asleep and there's a chance I lose. But if he Giga Drains, if I had switched into Kyurem and he Giga Drains, I 100% win. So I didn't think he was going to go for Giga Drain here, because there was no way he was winning if I switch into Kyurem right here on his Giga Drain. But alas, I go for Seismic Toss, get a little damage off on him, and Giga Drain. Yeah. So now I'm forced into this 50-50 on the last turn after I take out this Amoonguss, whether I outspeed Darmanitar or not. And it really should not have come down to this between the Heatran play, the way I played Mega Kangaskhan, and the last couple turns with Quagsire. I really put myself in this position for 50-50, and as you'll see, he wins the speed tie, takes me out, lives on 1%, and we lose our week 1 matchup just like that. Yeah, this was a tough loss. Not gonna lie, it sucked, knowing that I played that badly. Well, one, knowing that it came down to that 50-50, but looking back on it and just seeing some of the mistakes I made. But it is what it is. We lose week 1. It's a -1 differential. It's not the end of the world. Plenty of time to come back. I think I have the team and skill to do it. And so we'll see what we can do in week 2. That video should be coming out today as well. I hope you guys enjoyed, even with the outcome. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.